Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the news conference on the issue purchasing and waste held by Chinese government and Malaysian government. Here are our officials. Please feel free to ask them questions.
So more and more customers are concerning about the increasing price and falling qualities of all kinds of import goods, such as cars, meat, and fruits. So can you briefly explain the reasons?
Okay, first, thank you for your question. And yes, it's a really serious problem around the world as well as in China and Malaysia, that the increase in price range from cucumber to those electronic devices. And I think there are a lot of problems and a lot of reasons behind that. And the first one is about the stereotype that all the citizens think that the domestic inferior goods are not qualified enough. And another one is, and I think it's quite good to see that because of the international organization about environmental protectionists, they all aim at to reduce the contamination, because you know that more imported goods mean that the transport and during the transporting from other countries to our countries, and the shippings as well as the packagings of all the kind of products will waste a lot of resources. It's a kind of poor resource allocation. I think those groups and as well as the international organizations will put pressure to those suppliers and producers so that the prices are raising so high, and of course the domestic industries will face a lot of pressures, and the qualities of products are just lower and lower there. Thank you.
So domestic labor is also facing severe unemployment because of the imports. So what's your solution from a government aspect?
And that's a great question. And okay, from the government, actually we implied a lot, just like protectionism to input taxes, just like tariffs and some price barriers, and of course just like embargoes. But these are not quite good solutions because it will have some international disputes. And so we'd like to focus more on to subsidize those domestic industries and to educate people more about that our domestic products are really qualified enough. And we'd like to encourage our domestic citizens to purchase our products. Yes, and we need to cooperate and unite all the strengths from those citizens and as well as the government, and to save our earth. Yeah, thank you.
How does the increase in the usage of one-off goods affects you?
The one-off goods make me to purchase often and spend a lot of money to purchase it again. Moreover, items such as plastic causes a serious disease such as cancer.
Oh. So how does this thing affect the place that you live?
The one-off goods such as plastic damage the soil structure, where our farmers find it difficult to grow vegetables, whereas the excessive usage of woods exchange deforestation.
Oh, and what is the effects to global if you increase in the usage of one-off goods?
Plastic usage increase CO2 emission. Therefore, we are affected by climate change phenomena such as flash floods, cyclones, tornadoes, and droughts.
Oh, thank you.
So what other issues are there in your country?
Well, I think that poor waste management is also a major issue in our country.
You know, in your country, many people complain about the dirty environment, and they definitely need a solution towards this. And can you explain the effects first?
Yes, of course. Well, waste are mainly dealt with open burning and burying in our country. As we all know, open burning emit many dangerous gases and smoke, and which this could harm our individual health. And it also damages our surrounding environment, and such as causing haze. And also it is also an indication of wastage of resources. Poor waste management can cause air and water pollution in our country. From a global perspective, I think it will lead to animal extinction.
Okay, and what can you or what can the government do to stop them?
Well, I think what I can do is to cultivate a habit of recycling and sorting out rubbish before disposing them. And what we decision makers can do is to propose laws to encourage people to recycle and to raise their awareness. And secondly, we can provide more recycle bins in our residential areas. Last but not least is that we can build more recycling factories and to hire more people to work in it.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have a question for you. As we know that many foods are wasted in China and Malaysia, what do you think is the most serious impact of food waste on our personal lives and public environment?
Well, as an individual, the impacts are it costs more money to buy food. The impacts on where we live is the contaminate the community's environment. It can cause the residential area very smelly and a lot of flies and mosquitoes. Thus, it can cause disease such as malaria and typhoid.
Then, do you have any suggestions about what we can do to cut down the food waste as both individuals and governments?
As an individual, we can order only sufficient amount of food and fewer times to eat outside. We can also turn leftover to fertilizer. The government can build fertilizer devices and charge extra food for waste food according to the weight. Thank you for asking.
Thank you.
Less import.
Not dispose of the goods.
Keep recycling.
Order less.
Save our workers together.